We started like a couple minutes early, so just went live on TikTok. So everybody out there sending out the notifications. Yeah, it's gonna be a good time. Like I said, I'm not gonna spend. We're not gonna. I don't want to spend too much of your time.
No, they're good. They're good.
Yeah.
I can talk about the race for hours, honestly.
We already got a follower. John, welcome. We're gonna get started shortly. Tyson, what's going on? Y'all doing? Mr. Fields, how you doing? Aiden, what's up? Bella, what's going on? How y'all doing? Rachel. We're gonna get started shortly. Oh yeah, I can't wait for. I already got 22 people. How y'all doing?
There you go.
Let's get started in a few seconds, guys. Appreciate you as always. Thank you. Appreciate you. Be live for 2 days. 80 people. Okay. So yeah. All right, so we're gonna get started right now. Actually. All right, brother. Welcome to another episode of Will Call, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Will Cotchery. Got a special guest tonight, Rays enthusiast, MLB expert, Nick. What's going on, brother? How you doing?
I'm good, ready. I don't know. I wouldn't say MLB expert. I mean, I'll take the title. Though. That's good.
Oh yeah. So just like I said, I told you before we went on, I just appreciate you coming on the show. And I appreciate all your time as always. Really, I was looking forward to it all week long. Just at least the week before it as well, because I know baseball has really been a huge topic for my channel the last couple of weeks. Talk about the rule changes, and I'm really getting a lot of pushback and stuff like that. A healthy pushback, not anything reckless and whatnot. But just before that, I want to talk about your Rays first and foremost, your beloved Rays. As I know before, like I made a confession before. I'm a Yankees fan, so like I said, I wanted to I was waiting for your response on that. So how do you deal with division rivals fans? How do you deal with that?
I just like how I said earlier, my best buddies are Yankee fans, and I got one buddy that lives up in Leafs watching at the Boston Red Sox fan as well. So I mean, we have a group chat on Snapchat. We're always poking at each other and always, oh my gosh, you just during the playoffs a couple of years ago. I want to say it was 2022 playoffs. Oh no, I'm sorry, 2021 playoffs. When the Rays lost to the Red Sox, we were supposed to go so far. Oh my gosh, right. That was the most confident I felt in a while about us maybe winning the World Series. And we lost in four to the Red Sox. And I ended up blocking my friend. He kept on nagging me. He was like, "Oh, where you at, Big Slim? Where you at, Big Slim?" I'm like, "Come on, bro. Like, stop messing right now." Like, oh, you should. My parents, when I was watching the final walk-off that Verdugo hit, Verdugo might have been Vasquez, actually. When Vasquez hit that final walk-off, I threw whatever I had next to me. I threw it at my door, and I went inside of my room, and I'm screaming, I'm yelling. I didn't know how to handle it, and then I get messages to my friends, "Oh, R.I.P., 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 all this type of stuff." I'm like, holy man, I'm like, come on, man, like, leave me alone. Like, this isn't like my team, whatever. But like, the good thing is that I was able to get back at them for the Red Sox and for the Yankees, so they enjoyed it in that playoffs. I think the Yankees actually lost to the Red Sox in the wild card game. So
unfortunately,
I was at their house, my friend's house, when it happened. I remember when that was going on, I was clowning them, I was trolling them. "Oh, you guys suck. Oh, where's 28? Where's 28? They're ready to kick me out and all that type of stuff. But yeah, I just basically, how I handle them is how the season plans out. If my team is ahead of them, then they really have no reason to talk. If my team is, producing more, again, they have no room to talk. So that's how I look at it.
Oh yeah, and the thing is, like, it's funny. I remember when my Yankees beat the Phillies over a decade ago. It was a beautiful thing. I wasn't, I'm in my late 20s. I just, but I really get to see my Yankees at their absolute apex with Jeter in the core four. Mariano Rivera, Jorge Posada, Andy Pettit. I always look at the highlights and stuff, the old videos, and I'm proud of it. But like, just really getting to see that 2009 title against the Phillies, especially since they won the previous year, it was a beautiful thing. One thing I cherish too. It's one of my favorite franchises in sports. And it's really to speak on the Rays. As you all of course, the AL East has always been top heavy for years with the Yankees, Red Sox, but in the late 2000s, the Rays really started to get it going. Just for much of my lifetime, especially like elementary, middle school, and stuff like that, they were just it was just not the. They were just, and granted, they were an expansion team, so it does take time to really get things going. But once they got it going with Carl Crawford, B.J. Upton, David Price, Evan that's the ultimate core. Matt Garza, like just players who made contributions to other teams as well. Just what would you say about just that initial that rise to prominence?
It's like how people like to make fun of us for we have a low payroll, which I understand. Our payroll is not the highest, and we got to work with what we have. We got prospects, we have trades that we make.
Yeah.
You know, our highest paid pitcher was just Zach Eflin. We just signed for 3 years,
Right.
so we're able to 45 million or something like that. I mean, I think that's the most money we've given out to a pitcher, to a pitcher and free agent history. So for the Rays. So when we, are rising up and we go to 2008 and we have a team with Evan Longoria, we have Carl Crawford, we have all these type of players. Our pitching staff was amazing, and we lead up to around maybe 2012 when we kind of started to decline. We were not a powerhouse, but we were a very very good team from 2008 2009, and then it kind of just declined at that point, heading towards 2015, especially 2016, those years. I mean, that was terrible Rays baseball, to say the least. I mean, I wasn't really that crazy with the Rays when we were kind of on a decline, I'll be honest with you.
I don't blame you,
yeah. Once we started going a little bit more like 2018, and we won 90 games and didn't make the wild card. I think it was the first team ever actually to ever do that. 90 wins, you don't make the wild card. It's kind of, it was upsetting, but it was a good sign though because we are now headed towards greatness, and that's what we kind of are right now. We're still headed towards greatness. I mean, we have the 2020 World Series team. And the 2019 team that we had in the ALDS against the Astros. My goodness, that team was phenomenal, 100% phenomenal. I mean, and then we go to 2020, and then 2021 we get even better. 2022, kind of a little bit of a decline there when it comes to our lineup. But just seeing the prospect that we have in line for the future years, it's just something I'm so excited to see. So ready for it because sooner or later we will be winning a World Series.
And it's fascinating you say that because, as a Yankees fan, the team I hate outside of the Red Sox more is the Astros. I'm just going to full disclosure. I'm just, like they've been a thorn at our sides for several years now. Like they've been unbelievable. Being from the Southeast, like myself being from Louisiana, we have a lot of Astros fans, big time Astros fans. A lot of LSU players that went to played at Houston, Minute Maid Park. They've been unbelievable, and just much to their credit, low key, I'm finally happy that Dusty Baker finally got a ring. Much to his credit, he's been a steady manager for so many years, but just and kudos to him. I know he's been steady as well just throughout his time as a manager. But it's just I'm just sick of the Astros. To be honest with you, really just as a Yankees fan, real quick. Last year, we started off we were scorching like leading into the All-Star break, and like we just really plummeted. Like toward the end of the season. Still good enough to make the playoffs, obviously, but we like the biggest story, just especially toward the end, was just Aaron Judge, home run chase, beautiful thing to behold, and I was just happy for him because offense outside of him was really struggling for much of the second half of the year. But I'm just eager to see where both of these teams go. I know the Rays went 86 and 76 in 2022, which is actually their lowest percentage for winning since 2017. But like you said. They've done such an excellent job with trading over their history, their short history, like just like as you mentioned, the farming system for the franchise. They're typically very smart within the last 15 years with acquisition. So, and I've always said, after a team has struggled for so many years, I always love it to see when they actually do good, even if it's for like a couple years, just for the fan base and stuff like that has been tried and true. So I know their future is definitely bright for sure. And I wanted you to tell me about Wander just playing MLB The Show. How was that experience like?
Oh my God, that was insane. I mean, I didn't even expect it. So it was my cousin and I, and you might be watching the game in field. It was him and I, and we were like, oh, let's do the dance fest, whatever. So we got tickets, and we were looking online for the autograph passes that they have. Or that they were selling or whatever, they sold out within hours. So we were like, oh, dang, we're not going to get any autographs because they were saying, no autographs allowed within some areas of the fan fest area that we had was on the field. And they were like, oh yeah, no autographs, whatever. So we're like, okay, so we got to try and figure out how to get some type of autographs from somebody.
Right.
So we get there early so that way we can try to get these autographs.
Mm-hmm.
So we get there early. As soon as the doors open, we get in there, and we don't know where we're going. We're like, how do we even enter? So we go to this one little tunnel that leads to the field. I'm like, oh, let's go over here. It's like a game thing. I see some players. I see Josh Lowe. I see Harold Ramirez. I'm like, oh, hey, there's Josh and Harold. Let's go see that.
Right.
So we head over there, and we're standing in line. There's about maybe 4 or 5 people in front of us. And to my left, I see Wander Franco. And I'm like Gio, Wander Franco is right there. So he's like, what do you mean he's right there? I'm like, he's standing right in front of me. He's not seeing him. So he's like, oh, that's Wander? I'm like, yeah, he's wearing a jersey that says Franco on it. I mean, what do you think? So we're like, so we get in line, we take a picture with Wander, and we take a picture with Josh and Harold. And I'm talking to Josh, I'm like, hey, you want to play some OZ or whatever? And Josh knows, like, yeah, let's play. So me and Josh played for about maybe like 5-10 minutes, and then Harold stepped in and played for about 5-10 minutes. And while I'm playing with these 2 players, my cousin Gio goes to get a ball and some cards to get signed. I'm like, all right, so we get back in line to go get an autograph from Wander because we never got an autograph from him. So we get an autograph from Wander, and while he's getting the autograph, I go, Wander, you want to play later? And he's looking at me and yeah, we'll play later. His English is so broken. So we're like, yeah, we'll play later, whatever there was. So I was like, all right, sounds good. And then I guess the people that were with the players on that day, they stopped me. They're like, you want to play with them now? Because you're actually giving him a break because he's been signing autographs and taking pictures for the past 15, 20 minutes. Like, yeah, of course, definitely. So we sat down, grabbed the controller, and started playing.
Oh,
and
my goodness.
I it was such a surreal moment, and I felt bad for the guys. Like, I understand they're athletes and professional athletes.
Yeah.
But every 2 minutes, not even less than 2 minutes, somebody, Wander, waving at him.
Right. Yeah.
I felt bad for the guy. Like, let him enjoy a little bit of his time, at least. I mean, I know that he's especially, the greatest prospect in Rays history.
Yeah.
Like, let him relax for a little bit, or whatever. So we're playing. We played a 3-inning game. I beat him 2-0, and I no hit him.
No.
Yeah, and I no hit him. And when I told people that, they were like, you no hit him. Oh, I'm so nervous about the season. I'm like, don't worry, because whenever he made a base hit, or not a base hit, whenever he made contact, it was like perfect, or just a little bit earlier than he was like on. So I'm like, don't worry about it. He's good. He's got the timing. He's got the contact. So don't worry about it. He's good. But yeah, it was a great moment. It was awesome.
Yeah, that's unbelievable. Just it's always good. I try to be respectful of like the athlete's time. Just because they just, especially like for athletes who are not really as popular, like they've struggled. So I try to be respectful with their time. I'm just glad they're just very gracious, with the opportunity. Granted, it's a fan event, so I mean you got to be present in the moment. But even still, they could easily decline. So I'm just happy you had that moment. I know you're a huge Brandon Lowe fan. So just what are some of your signature moments from him, like that stick out for you personally?
And first thing I think of is I don't want to say this, but how bad he did in the playoffs in 2020.
No. Yeah.
And it sticks out the most because it's just what happened with him. But Brandon, just a style of play. He's so calm and so smooth with it. His swing is beautiful, and just being a power hitter that with his size, I love seeing the style of play. Now, when it comes to moments of him that make me love him so much, I mean, it's just the fact that he hit 30 home runs in 2021,
right.
And seeing what he can do, in the future, and we extended him to a contract extension at the point, I believe it was, and just seeing him for another 4 years, I believe he had 3 years. Just watching him play is just phenomenal. I love watching him play, everything about him.
And the thing is, really just, like we already talked about, such a, strong core. Just, they do an excellent job. They really do an excellent job. Better than most teams, I would say. Just, like I said, to say that they're, consistently getting in talent like that, high-end prospects, even with such a dominant high-end division like the AL East, especially when like the Yankees are rolling, the Red Sox are rolling. And like I said, it just, I've been impressed with them, especially the way they started their history for that first like decade and some change. Just really how they recovered since. Like you said, we have Mr. Tim said farm system is strong. Yeah, like you said, Nick just said it, and it's an unbelievable accomplishment. And I've always said before, one of the beautiful things about baseball is the farming system. Like, use the farming system. Like, there's so much talent out there. You got to get guys you can trust out there. You got to, as long as your development and tactics are great, that's what's going to help it out. That's really what. That's why you have the spring training. That's why you have like AA, AAA, and like I don't need to tell you this because you know. So.
And one person I'm really jealous of the Yankees for having is Jason Dominguez. Yeah, I wish he was a Ray. I'll tell you that right now.
I bet. Yeah.
That kid is a monster. I mean, his nickname is the Martian for a reason. I mean, he's just you don't see any talent like him. Like it's just unreal how he is. And for a young age, also, he has a bright future. I'm so jealous of the Yankees.
And listen, I just want to see another World Series World Series banner. But it's going to come in time. It's going to be interesting to see off topic, low key, just with Derek Jeter joining Fox. They're really going to have to be critical about the Yankees, and I'm just really eager to see what he has to say this coming season and beyond. Because you already have A-Rod on the staff, so it's going to be a very fascinating dynamic on television. Just I want to make it so serious to say it's a storyline. I know they have their history, high ends and lows, but just nonetheless, I think I'm gonna be eager to see watch Fox Sports more and stuff like that. Just I want to transition to actually, can you show our lovely followers about the baseball, like your quest and your journey about the autograph?
Yeah, so I got this from Rays versus Blue Jays over in Dunedin. And my goal for the year is to get everybody's signature on it. It might not happen because the ball is already filled with signatures. Right. But this is my goal. I mean, I got players. The reason why I love this ball so much is because I have so many, high prospects in the team. Nico Holzer, Greg Jones. I got Daniel Robinson on this as well. I even have some coaches too. I mean, I have Kevin Cash and Kyle Snyder. I also have Isaac Paredes. I have all these types of players that I'm so ready for when they get older and they're in the MLB. And I told, I met Nico. I didn't meet him, but I had a conversation with him over at Rays Fan Fest, and I told him, I shook his hand, so I said, you're my rookie of the year. Whenever you make the MLB, you're my rookie of the year. So seeing his autograph on my ball makes me happy for sure.
Yeah, just I'm glad that you locked in on the goal, brother. Like that's a very ambitious goal. Like it's a fun. We're gonna definitely catch up with it as the season goes on. We're still in spring training. Of course, the WBC is going on, which we're about to talk about shortly. Actually, as we're having this live session, Venezuela is actually up 7-5 on US. I know it's top of the 8. The bases are loaded according to. I'm just looking on the website. This is like the live cast, but I know the game is pretty old. I mean, it's like time is running short. Yeah. I know they got to cash in on this top inning. But what are your impressions so far about the tournament altogether?
It's truly amazing. Just watching these kids, play for their home team. I mean, they say that it's bigger than the World Series, and honestly, this is the World Series. Like, literally, it is the World Series. And whatever all these players are saying, we got Randy Rosarena talking about how it just means everything. It's true. I mean, think about Messi when he won the World Cup.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. This right here is the same thing as the World Cup, if you really think of it.
Oh, absolutely.
So, it's just so awesome. Just the intensity they play with, the pride that they take in their country, and it's amazing. I love watching it, and I haven't really watched many of the games, but I've watched quite a few to where it's like seeing players' intensities. It's amazing. I love it.
Yeah, and it's interesting you said that because one of my brothers, he said Japan's when Japan passed around Shohei Ohtani's home run baseball in the World Baseball Classic, it was a sight to see. They gave him so many standing ovations. One of the games was just it rated higher. It was more watching the World Series game, one of the World Series games, and it just goes. And I understand when you have international competition, people play hard for their country, and that should be noticed, but. I've seen several takes on on TikTok, and I disagree with pretty much all of them about the fact that the World Baseball Classic has really exposed Major League Baseball
Yeah.
in a major way.
I'm
Go
sorry,
ahead.
yeah, but I'm sorry to cut you off, but
Oh
like
yeah, go ahead. No,
I saw a report that said 46% of the households in Japan and Korea, I believe it said, or
yes,
Japan or something like that, were tuned into the WBC.
yes.
And
You know
that
how
doesn't say
crazy that
anything
is?
that I don't know what does. I don't know how much more you can put it. 46% of the houses were tuned into the WBC. That's just amazing. Like, just seeing what Shohei Ohtani has done to the to Japan and kind of just showing that this guy is just incredible. Just watching him play, it's literally a once in a lifetime player,
Oh
and
yes.
the people of Japan need to really take pride in this, which I'm sure they do, because if this kid, somehow becomes the greatest of all time, which I feel like he's on the path towards that way,
Mm-hmm.
then that's amazing. Think about how many more kids will be playing baseball because of Shohei Ohtani. Think about that. All these kids look up to Shohei over Japan and around that area and the Asian countries over there. They look up to him.
Oh
It's
yes. Oh yes.
like how Dominican kids looked up to Big Papi,
Yeah.
and how us American kids looked up to now Mike Trout,
Yeah.
or before maybe even Barry Bonds. For all you know, I mean Barry Bonds, he was a generational talent, like how Shohei is.
Oh, without
So I mean,
question.
all these people look up to them. They want to be like them when they grow up. So it's just a great feeling that baseball is, opening up to many other people in the world.
And it's like I love that you said all that because there's so much to unpack with all those facets. You said nearly you have to realize how crazy this is. Nearly 50% of the households in the country. Japan has almost 126 million people. Like and that's like so that's like almost like 60 million people. Like almost half of the country was tuned into
That's
the game.
insane. I think I read something about the WBC attendance all around so far for food play was like 1.6 million,
Mm-hmm.
and I think the Oakland Athletics were like 735,000 for the entire 2022 season. So I mean, it's kind of bad for the athletics, but it's really good for baseball when it comes to getting people to come together and enjoy the game that we love so much. That's why I love it. That's why I love the WBC thing.
And what's fascinating just about going back to Shohei real quick and just such a generational.
I just got a notification. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you
Go
off.
ahead, go ahead.
USA takes lead on Trey Turner Grand Slam.
Yes.
97.
Look, and it
97
was. I said, listen, they need something major right here. Oh, that's major. It's like
Yeah,
the bases
yeah.
were loaded on the graphic online. Just so I had to. We needed that one. Getting nervous.
Grand Slam. That's awesome. That's awesome.
And just what's fascinating is just we talk about Shohei, such like you said, a freak show athlete, generational talent. And the thing is, and I said this during the season, and especially after, if it was any other season, he would have been MVP, no brainer.
Oh yeah.
Like I would say, any season outside of this season, Barry Bonds' 2001 season, 98 season with the home run chase, pretty much any other season in in sports history, well for the league history, he would have been MVP because he's a two-way player. He pitches and hits.
Yeah.
So like I said, any other season, like it would have been a no-brainer.
You think about Babe Ruth back in the 20s and 30s when he played. I mean, he was a cool player. He pitched, he hit, whatever. And 700, he had what 700 something home runs he's had in his career. I mean, and he was technically a pitcher from what some people say.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's great to see. And now we're seeing this right now with Shohei. But times have changed.
Oh
that's
yeah.
the thing. So baseball has gotten more competitive, and it's all it is just logistics now. So, you have people that talk about, pitch increase has gone up 4 miles per hour since 1920, stuff
Yeah.
like that. It's all this type of stuff that people are adding into it, which makes them lots of sense at the same time. Because, you have Babe Ruth who's hitting against people that possibly were pitching at most 88 miles per hour or whatever. That's a major league pitcher's changeup nowadays.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
that's how it is. So when times have changed, we got to look into that.
Yeah.
Babe Ruth, and then now you got Babe Ruth, Mickey Mantle, and then let's say Hank Aaron, or Roberto Clemente,
Right.
and Barry Bonds, Dale Jeter, all these stuff players. It's gone, and generational talent. like how we were talking about Shohei, generational talent. Every single one of those players I just named off. So, it's just times have changed, and comparing them to older players is kind of harder to do, but it's not going to be easy.
And like as fascinating as it could be on the surface level, a lot of people especially, and you see this really prevalent in like the NBA culture, just like comparing the good eras and stuff like that, and like a lot of people, younger people, they trash the older generation and stuff like that. I mean, you can only do so much for what a lot of people talk. He was a plumber and all that foolishness like
That's
that.
me. I'm one of those. You should hear me and my dad complain. I always say that LeBron is the greatest of all time, and that's so damn so I'm a big LeBron fan. He's probably commenting this in a second, saying that Michael's the GOAT.
Yeah.
Because you should hear our arguments sometimes. We're sometimes sitting in the living room at 11 o'clock and we're screaming at each other as to why LeBron's the GOAT or why Michael's the GOAT. And my reasoning makes a lot of sense. But his only reason is 6 rings, never left the team, all this type of stuff. Right? For me, I'm bringing up stats, I'm bringing up all this type of stuff.
Yeah.
But he knows. I guess he knows. I don't know.
Hey, listen, and we might have to get into that one another day for sure. It's fascinating to me just how the game evolves, and it's important to remember that. And going back to show the generational talent that Shohei is, the Angels. It's mind-boggling to me how they're wasting 2 generational talents. And
I die to have that on the Rays. I would kill to have that on the Rays. Honestly, if the Rays had that, I don't know how I would react. It's just amazing.
And the thing is, like, they won it all in 2002. They beat the Giants in 7. Barry Bonds and the Giants in 7. Just as much to cheer for after since then. They've had the great pitchers, and then it came Mike Trout. And if the league was more popular, like how much like more love he should be getting, and it's just and which goes back to my point that I really wanted to ask you about. Just the MLB's gotten exposed in a mighty way during this tournament, and I've said on my platform for the last couple of weeks, it's been a big talking point. Just you got to shorten the season, in my opinion. Like just I know it's tradition. Baseball fans, the traditionalists, take their pride in like the long history, and I know like shortening the season it compromises the history of the game when it talk about statistics and whatnot. But I just feel like for a game that has such a rich history in this country, it was the original pastime sports wise in this country. You have to make a radical change. You have to make several radical changes, and I'm gonna let you. And I definitely want to hear what you have to say about this. I say 100 personally, and I know somebody said on TikTok, like a very popular creator on TikTok, he said you shorten it down to 80. I think that's a little bit short, but I like 100 better, and then because it creates more urgency for the teams and does create more excitement for the fans. It just but I just wanted to see what you have to say about that because I'm gonna get into the rule changes as well.
These rule changes they have nowadays, with big clock especially. I mean, they're trying to boost the face, and they're trying to, get more people to come to games. And the main reason that's why people don't come to baseball games is because it's too long, it's too boring, and drag. I understand 100%. I mean, it's not like how it's basketball where there's probably a point every possession.
Yeah.
Or it's not like football where, it's rough and it's attacking each other, all that type of stuff. It's a calm game. It's not really meant for people who, love violent stuff or love, fast pace. That's why I like the game so much, because at any second anything can happen. You know what I mean? Like a game like for the Rays, they went into extra innings, 17 innings I believe it was, and or 16 innings, and it was so scoreless, 16 innings. So I mean, when you have that going on, I understand that's what people are kind of like, okay, this is ridiculous, and that's where the whole the movie called it was the Texas. I forget what it was called. There was a runner on second, and it said Texas extra inning rule or something like that, and it was a runner on second base, and that kind of does help out a lot because 2 sacrifice flies and you get a run, and then it's going to end the game quicker. But when it comes to shortening the season, I don't know if that's the way that we can go. I do feel like 162 games is a lot.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's kind of like this is a game where you have pitchers who tear their UCLs every single year for lack of, you know, not taking care of themselves correctly.
Yeah.
You know, we got kids who, you know, try to throw hard every single day and they don't really know how to take care of their bodies. And, you know, UCL injury probably gone is the biggest injury in baseball. So I think that's why 162 games is good is that way when you have pitchers and you have hitters and fielders, all that type of stuff that are throwing constantly and consistently. You know, I feel like it gives them a little bit of a leeway and kind of gives them a little grace before the next time they have to do something so, you know, physical, right? For pitchers, you know, pitchers throw 100 pitches a game.
Yeah. Yeah.
Kind of average about maybe 80 to 100 pitches a game. They're throwing 90-mile-per-hour fastballs, and you know they're throwing curveballs or switching with their elbows. And, you know, they leave that time off, which gives them that 4 to 5 days off,
Yeah.
and you come right back into it. Whereas, so let's say you're playing only 100 games, you kind of shorten that by maybe 2 or 1 game, and that 2 to 1, that 1 to 2 games can be quite a bit, honestly.
Yeah.
Like in the postseason, I mean, you see it. People, you know, they pitch somebody game 1, game 7 comes, or game 6 comes around, they pitch them again, or game 4 comes around, they pitch them again. And not as good when they're pitching in game 4 than they were game 1 because they're not really ready. Their arm is hurting, or they're physically not ready, or mentally not ready. They lose that time. That's why I think 162 games is good.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe short it down to around maybe 140, 130.
Yeah.
But I feel like 162 games is good for the MLB for that reason.
Yeah, and those are excellent points that you make. Now I will say my original peak number was 120. I will say that, and but just and the thing is like, and I say shorten it because I see the issues that the NBA is having with load management, and like because their season needs to be short in my opinion, and like that's a whole nother topic as well, and it's just I think but what saves them personally is that like the sport is more dynamic as far as excitement's concerned. This especially appeals more to like the younger generation, especially in a climate now with social media, highlight driven, you know, shorter attention spans. That's why I like say it's a beautiful sport. Baseball is a beautiful sport. You know, I go like me and one of my best friends go to our alma mater. You know, LSU just it's a historic college baseball power. So we we go out to we used to go out to like the night games and stuff like that. I love a peaceful environment. I would love to, and like, and the thing is, and just the one, and like another thing I say about, you know, the Major League Baseball, they're not maximizing the summer like they should because a lot of these games are during the day. Like I know kids are out of school, but you know when I was their ages, I was in summer camp, so I wasn't like I'm going to be at like an 11 o'clock midday game anyway. You see what I'm saying? Just I feel like they should move all the games into prime time. And there's some exceptions like the weekend, like Saturday, Sunday, national holiday, stuff like that, and reschedule for a rain delay, stuff like that. Those are exceptions for sure. But I just and I think because and like I said, I know the traditionalist peers. I've said this in the past. They're not too fond about these changes. You know, I looked up. You know, with the pitch clock. It shaved off 25 minutes off minor league games. That's pretty major, and like that's a big jump. And the thing is about the pickoff limit, like you talked about. A lot of people talked about at the end of the game, there might be a situation where bases are loaded, and like there's like a pickoff attempt and stuff like that. It might bring a base run in to end the game. Now I will say somebody did say this. You can have the pickoff limit, or you can have the pitch clock and stuff like that, but just eliminate it after the 7th inning. So it's like similar to like the 2-minute like warning in football. Just like when you all the replays are strictly from the booth and not on the sideline. I actually love that idea because I'm not sure who said it, but I told him that was a very smart plan. And of course, you got the banning of the shift and the bigger bases, like. And a lot of people say in the past where offense win games, defense win championships, but offense sells. And like this is ultimately a business. And like you gotta sell tickets, you gotta get people back in the seats. Now I know Major League Baseball is notorious for their high ticket revenues, but
Hmm.
you gotta make it more affordable. You gotta make
Yeah,
it more
I
affordable.
agree 100%.
Yeah.
I 1,000% agree with you. And when it comes to the Rays and their ticket prices, I mean, it's absurd what they charge for some of the things. I mean, to go to a Rays versus Yankee game, the minimum price is $40. I'm sorry, but I'm not paying $40 to go all the way to St. Pete, which is a terrible drive in my opinion.
Yes.
And sit down. I mean, the Trop is a nice stadium. Don't get me wrong. Like AC, obviously, who doesn't love AC? I love AC.
Yeah.
But when it comes to $40 tickets, it's kind of not right because I kind of want to go. If I see that the Yankees are in town, or if I see that the let's say the Padres are in town with the players they have, or just any big team, the Angels, I want to maybe go to more than one game back to series,
Yeah.
so I can watch them more than once. But let's say that I go to one game and I would get an opportunity to see Shohei or Mike Trout, maybe the next game they'll be playing. So I want to go to the next game. But I'm not going to be paying $40 per day to go watch them play. I, I'm gonna get the money for that. I mean,
It,
that's yeah,
absolutely. Just like do something like, and I'll do research on this myself. Just like do like a certain package. You got to make it more affordable. It doesn't
yeah.
help like the first because they what they need to do is push them all to prime time. And like I know
Mm-hmm.
people got rush hour and stuff like that, especially in the bigger cities. Because I don't live like a huge city like that, so I can't
Mm-hmm.
imagine. But you got to make it more accessible to the fans.
Oh no, 100%.
You,
It's so when it comes to the Rays and the location, I mean, the location of it is not the best, to be honest with you, and the traffic is terrible at that. I mean, when you go to a place like Tampa during rush hour, 5 o'clock, 6, it's just busy, but it clears up very quickly. I'll tell
yeah,
you that. Whereas for St. Pete, you hit traffic, you're in traffic for 2 to 3 hours. So that's why I feel like the traffic situation and all that type of stuff to make it more easier for you know fans to get to the games. I feel like they need to take that into consideration, which I'm sure they do, but they probably
yeah,
don't think of it as much as they should. They look at it as a business standpoint. How much is it going to cost us to build a new stadium over in Tampa? Or how much is it going to cost us for us to, you know, revamp the interstate or whatever there is? Ways that they can make it easier for fans to make it, and also more affordable. I mean, um, when it comes to driving to Tampa, for me, when it comes to gas, actually less for me to get to Tampa than it is to St. Pete.
oh
It's a
well, yeah,
35 minute to 40 minute drive for me to get to Tampa, whereas for St. Pete, 45 minutes to an hour, sometimes maybe an hour and a half. So that's and gas is a big thing nowadays. So that's
oh
that's
yeah,
a aspect of it as well that people need to look into. And like I was talking about with the ticket prices, I mean the Angels were advertising a ticket promo last year. There was 4 tickets, 4 drinks, and 4 hot dogs for $44, and that was in the outfield section or somewhere. It was good theater, to say the least. I mean, when you got 4 hot dogs, 4 drinks, and 4 tickets for $44, I'm in. $11 for all that type of stuff, I'm in 100%.
yeah. And like now, I will say like we talked about, we ragged on them earlier. Just like you're wasting two generational talents. That's the least. That's the least you could do. Make it affordable for the.
Yeah,
but like
100%.
I'm all for
Yeah,
that. I'm all for it.
yeah,
Especially like when the season is series based. But like when you shorten it, like you can space off the games. And like you made a great point. As a lot of people talk about the pitchers, because when you shorten the season, that's more pressure on the body. Now I will say like I always loved about baseball with the starting rotation. They don't play every game. That's why you have your bullpen. That's why you have your relief pitchers. That's a very smart design by the sport of baseball in general. But I will say nowadays I noticed that starting pitchers don't even play the full game like they used to. So how much of a like and I ask people this all the time, just like how if they're not playing already, they're not playing the full game already, even when they're hot, which is
hmm
mind boggling to me. I've seen several times like when they have the hot hand, you don't and I'm not talking about going for a no hitter or a perfect game. I'm just talking about just maybe gave up a hit or two, maybe a run or something like that. But you
yeah,
overall have the hot
yeah,
hand. You got to.
yeah,
I'm keeping them in,
yeah,
personally. And like
yeah.
I know everybody's not the Atlanta Braves of the 1990s, but understand
Oh,
just like you talk about a cheat code star
yeah,
rotation, but
yeah.
everybody's not on that level. But still, like if I got the hot hand, I'm staying with them.
And like prime example for this. Hate to say it, but Blake Snell, Game 6, 2022, 2020 World Series. That was watching it happen in real and in live time and looking at Kevin Cash coming out of the dugout to take him out, for the Nick Anderson who's been performing terribly that entire postseason. Like, what are you doing, Kevin? Like, at least, put some sense into it. Peter Fairbanks, he might have pitched the night before, but Peter Fairbanks has been on fire the entire postseason. I mean, he was the reason for our last out to go to the World Series. So if you put faith in somebody else that's not Nick Anderson, he could have put anybody else in. I say this right now, he could have put anybody else in, and they would have got it out. They would have gotten out of that inning. But instead, he wanted to go ahead and put Nick Anderson, who's having a terrible postseason, and that's what happened. So it's just like, I don't even. It was so heartbreaking to see that, because Chris Snow was shoving that entire night. He was killing it. He had one hit on him, I want to say it was, 1 or 2 hits. And the reason why they took him out is because he was facing the lineup for the third time. The analytics stuff, that's what got me upset. I used to be a big analytics guy, but when it comes to something like that, it's kind of like, that's just ridiculous. Because he was going to get out of that inning. I mean, I could just see it, how he was pitching. He was going to get out of the inning, but yeah, I don't understand why coaches have to do that nowadays. Take out the star pitcher for some odd reason. I don't know why.
Yeah, and that's a great thing about analytics. I know that's an excellent point where we talk about, advanced metrics. They do have a value in sports dialogue, but there's some things you got to stay. If the guy is hot, I'm giving. It's like you in basketball. You like, if the guy got the hot hand, get him on ISO. I don't care if it's pick and roll, ISO. Get him down low, get him to the line. Just if you got the hot hand, you got to feed him.
Yeah.
Just like you got to feed him.
That's just how it is. Yeah.
Just like a wide receiver getting open constantly, you got to feed him.
Yeah, do you think they stopped Kobe when he was scoring 81?
I was just about to say that. I was just about to say that. They
stopped Kobe when he scored 60 against the Jazz, his last game of his career? I mean, like, no. You can't do that.
Listen.
You can't take him out of his rhythm. You can't. It's just that's a disaster waiting to happen.
And the fascinating thing about what you just said, neither one of those Kobe games had a huge consequence. They were regular season. First one, they was a regular season. It wasn't like in the playoffs. In his last game ever, they were way out of playoff contention, but it was his last game. Either way, you kept him in. But it just goes to show you just a lot of times, a lot of these higher up, they outsmart themselves, they outthink themselves. I got to keep my pitchers in because they don't play every day anyway.
Yeah.
They don't play the whole time regardless.
Yeah.
Especially now, like a shortened season shouldn't be, in my opinion, like I said, I would love it because especially even more so when you move the games to prime time, you got to move. Like I got to watch the teams. It's like just 80 games, 82 games in basketball is a lot, much less 162. I love my Lakers, I love my Yankees, but it's a lot of games. I got a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah, I agree. I hear a lot of load, like how you were talking about earlier, load management. I mean, that's just been a thing for the past couple of years now. Load management, it's just players are taking time off. And you know what I love? If I could, put somebody in consideration about the greatest of all time, I'd say Kobe because of his mentality. Mm-hmm. There was times where he's in pain and he won't sit out of the game because he never knows if there's a kid in the stands that came however far away to come see him play. You got players like LeBron, you got players like Curry, and all these players are taking their time off. I understand that they get tired and all, but I mean, the mentality that matters at that point. Kind of like taking load management for what reason? For what reason you take load management? Because you drop 6 in the night before and you're mastery and take a day off. That's probably the reason why they're doing that. It doesn't really make sense to me.
And just one of the things looking at these comments was some of my guys talking about what's up, brother, and he was saying like the college game average last year was 3 hours and 15 minutes per LSU, even games played up to 4 and 5 hours, and like just and even if you are a huge fan of the team, that's a long time. Yeah. That's a long time just because you got to think about travel, people coming from out of town and stuff like that. It's just so many elements to it. But if you keep them engaged, like I said, and like I saw, I made a stitch a week or so ago about a guy who talked about the Major League Baseball average time last year was shorter than NFL time. He was like, well, like shout out to all the people who think they should shorten MLB games. He was just saying like, I wait. It was like an arrogant vibe. I'm like, dude, like you got to understand.
Yeah.
This is why it's so important to look at stuff in context. Because like, listen, NFL, like, yes, technically he's right. It's longer by average game time, but it's just not the same amount of dead time in comparison.
Yeah.
So, like I said, baseball is a beautiful. I'm never ragging on it, but they just, to me, like they just need to do so much more. They have a lot of work to do.
Yeah, no, I agree. You know, like for the Rays, going to a game is boring. I'll be honest with you. There's no in-game entertainment. There's hardly any of it. If it is, the same stuff that I see every single time I go. There's nothing different. It's always the same. You know, you go to Padres games. I've seen when Josh Hader used to come out of the bullpen. They got freaking lights flashing. You got music going.
Yeah.
You know, Edwin Diaz. You got music going. You know. They make it a show. They make it entertaining for fans that are there. But for the Rays, it's the same thing every single game. They do the where's the ball on the Stingrays? They do dance cam. It's the same stuff every single time, and it gets annoying. It gets very annoying.
Yeah, and like, yeah, you're right. And just sorry to cut you off. Just like. And that's another good thing that you said, that one thing about baseball is just like it caters more so to an older demographic, because there's a lot of people who don't like, you know, when players, they hit a home run and they stare at it and watch it go before they round the bases. It has like, you know, baseball is notorious for like their unwritten rules and stuff like that. It's just you know, I consider myself an old soul, but it's, you know, you got to draw a line with stuff like that as well. Because you got to get the younger people in, on top of the fact that you alienated an era of fans, because you still haven't added Barry Bonds, Roger Clemens, Sammy Sosa, Mark McGwire in the Hall of Fame. As controversial and polarizing as they are for obvious reasons, but you still have their records in the book. Their stats aren't vacated. You still playing their highlights on YouTube and stuff like that. So why not put them in the Hall of Fame? So
no, that's true. No, that's true. Like. So when you were talking about how players like they hit a home run, they stare at the ball for seconds before they even take the way to first base.
Yeah.
The only one that has a logical and reasonable excuse is when Bonds hit that record-breaking home run. When he hit the ball and then you can see his hands go, but he
yeah.
That's the only excuse. That's the only reason why you can do that. But if you're just hitting a home run and let's say you tie up the game and it's a meaningless game, and you just stand there, you're looking at the ball go. What's the point on that? Like honestly, what's the point of it? I mean, if you were hitting the ball and it's a home run to tie up the game in the World Series of Game 7, yeah, go ahead, enjoy it, celebrate. But when it's a meaningless game, let's say Game 40 of the MLB season, you know, when you're hitting a home run, you're staring at it for 10 seconds. What's the reason of it? That just makes you look like an idiot, in my opinion.
No,
so I agree with you on that. I agree with you on that. The showboating stuff, that's a little bit too much.
Yeah. And like in showboat, it comes to you got to draw a line too, just because some people take it too far, like a John Moran and stuff like that. You know, the Grizzlies, they celebrate, they talk like just, and it's over. It's not warranted, but that's a whole nother story for another day, of course. And Mr. Tim actually commented and said, Pete Rose, how can I forget? Of course, the all-time hits leader, so in league history, you alienate an era of the sport that made it special. Like I said, I'm not justifying what these guys did, whether it's performance-enhancing drugs or, just betting on games illegally. But just, these are the stars of your sport, and you alienate the fans, even though if you didn't see them play, right? Let me see something real quick. That sound to pull out. Just even if you didn't grow up watching them, like you cherish the history, and I do. It just and that's something they have to really rectify. They have a lot of work to do.
Yeah, definitely. It's just, Fernando Tatis, for example. You got a kid like him who was the face of baseball at one point in his career, but and one point in his career was a couple of years ago. And seeing him, do all this type of stuff, like show 2021 cover was a picture of him throwing the bat. I mean, when you have that, it's kind of like that's unnecessary. You got cover photos like MLB 18 to show it's Aaron Judge. You see the back of his jersey. Or MLB, I think it's '05 with Big Poppy on it and it's him swinging. There's no showboating in that.
Yeah.
Nothing at all. And it's kind of getting up to the point now where Lee Gordon, who's now the face of it, it's kind of like who is the face of the cover, I should say.
Yeah.
It's kind of like all this jewelry, all this type of stuff is meaningless in baseball. Congratulations, you look cool. Like, I guess you gotta be cool to be good at baseball or something like that.
Right.
I guess you gotta act cool to be good at baseball. I don't know I don't know what that is. And the sad thing is that it's getting to these younger kids' mental. I watch videos of 8-year-old kids, 9-year-old kids that are playing 7-on-7 football, and I got kids wearing these shiesty masks and gold chains and glasses and all this type of stuff while playing football. Why can't you just wear shorts and a shirt with cleats and call it a day with some gloves?
I agree.
It's so easy to look good. But it's so hard to play good. You get what I mean?
Right. You just and like I said, you see the league is scrambling, in my opinion, just trying to get the popularity back but they're just not evolving quickly enough, and it's going to steadily fall behind, especially when you have soccer as with its rapid growing popularity in the country. Obviously, it won't be to the level as a football or basketball, but it's just with this when you have a sport like that's not even known, that's not as prevalent here, that's not as popular or adored here, steadily growing in popularity and stuff like that, and you're still stuck in the past. That's a major issue. Like I said, it caters to an older demographic. And like I said, a lot of older people are at home. They watch it like chill day, which is fine at one point. But it's just, I mean, the game is too historic. The game is too beautiful for it to not take advantage of the summertime. That is your peak moment.
No, I agree. There's a reason why they call baseball America's pastime. So I mean, when you have a sport that's been playing since I want to say 1860, or sometime like 1880 or whatever. I think it was 1880 when baseball was invented, and you kind of have the same rules apply from 1880. It's kind of ridiculous. Now that you bring it up, it's kind of like, why can't we change something here and there or whatever there is? And some of these rule changes that they do have are ridiculous and are like ruining the game of baseball.
Yeah.
But you got to do something. You can't keep it all the same at once.
Yeah, you can't.
Like I hear the NBA are thinking about adding a 4-point line or something like that. I don't know if that's true or not.
They've said that for a while now. I'm not sure how true it is.
It's that type of stuff you need to change up.
Yeah, and like the thing is, like I said before, it's going to compromise the history with statistics. I get it, but if you want to get back to that level. Like a 1998 season type level, you want to get back to the older days and stuff like that as far as popularity. You have to make some changes. One thing I always say, think about the year 1950. The NBA was only 3 years old in 1950. The National Football League was 30 years old in 1950. MLB had already been playing for 100 seasons. It's far and away the pastime of the country for much of the 19th and 20th century. But you let that go.
Yeah.
And like to the other leagues' credit, obviously they had to grow in their popularity and stuff like that. But I mean, you allow two other sports leagues to take over the fame of the country.
Yeah, I agree. So baseball, what they can do to kind of make it more entertaining is expand teams to other regions of the area, other regions of the state. So there's no team in, I want to say it's Tennessee, they don't have a team.
Yeah.
The Titans top, the Grizzlies do really well when it comes to attendance. And, there's no MLB team in Tennessee. There's no MLB team in, I think it was Oklahoma, if I'm not wrong. Oklahoma, they don't have a team. The Thunder do well when it comes to that type of stuff. And attendance, all that type of stuff. If they had more teams around the area, I feel like it would kind of expand popularity and kind of open up minds to new fans. New team coming up, I'll be a fan of them. And it kind of expands that type of stuff. even with the NFL right now, what they're talking about expanding teams into Germany and Europe. I mean, that's a great idea. It's honestly, I understand that America is football is America's sport, 100%. But it's time to where you can't gatekeep such a beautiful sport from other countries from watching it. Baseball is, you got different organizations in baseball that are just as not just as big as the MLB, but nearly as big. Where do you think Shohei Ohtani came from? The Indians come out of nowhere. He came from the Japanese league. So I mean, when you have other opportunities for other fans to do what they love and play the sport that they love so much, it opens up so much more, and more fans tend to come in and want to be a part of it. If you get what I'm saying.
Right, for sure. I like that. Like expanding to other cities, like you brought up Tennessee. Listen, they have the Nashville Predators. That's a hockey team. Hockey's not the same popularity as it is in Canada and other countries, but like you have if Nashville could get a hockey team, because you already have the Grizzlies, you already have the Titans. I wouldn't mind seeing them in baseball team in Nashville or Memphis. I wouldn't mind seeing them in Las Vegas because you've already expanded in hockey with the Knights. NBA's going to Vegas pretty soon. Raiders are in Vegas now, so it wouldn't be outlandish for me to see a team in Vegas for baseball. I don't think that's out. You have Allegiant Stadium. You already have the new stadium, so you can play in the same stadium as the Raiders. So I don't think that's ridiculous.
Space, that's for sure.
Oh, I said again.
They definitely have the space, and they definitely have the money.
Oh yes. They have the money.
They're not lacking on any of that.
Yeah, absolutely not. So like we said, we're bottom of the ninth. I'm gonna let you go ahead and we're gonna watch this beautiful game with our families. But I want to tell you once again, I appreciate your time, homie. It's been a blessing to have you on the show. Honor and privilege, brother. Appreciate you.
I appreciate you having me. I really enjoyed it. It was a great night. I appreciate you. God bless you, and hopefully we can do this again. Definitely.
Oh yeah, definitely. I'm gonna be sure that I'm gonna keep you posted. I'm gonna post it on my YouTube channel, so that way you have the link to share it out to your friends and family. But I'll let you know. I'll send it all to your way. So you have a blessed night, brother.
I appreciate that. You too.
I appreciate you. Have a good night.